Continuing some of the ideas from my punishment video from a few months ago, I wanted to talk a bit about being open to improvement and hearing things you may not want to. I am very stubborn, but I really appreciate getting constructive feedback from others. We have this activity in peer counseling where you have to pick out one of the people out of the group of 20 and tell them about either something that they did that you didn't like or didn't agree with or didn't feel comfortable with, and possibly tell them how they could improve their actions if applicable. This is an activity that every class dreads, but it ends up being a fruitful experience for most of the people involved. You're usually fine if you go in with a very open and willing mind, but not everyone will react nicely when you point out their flaws. This isn't an activity for everyone. I've had small altercations and discussions turn into full-blown manipulative arguments. Sometimes it doesn't matter how close you are with the person, they just don't care about your opinions and they don't have to listen to them. So now this message is going out to people who may not be as comfortable with their mistakes being pointed out. In general, in the grand scheme of things, not being open is not going to get you far. If you can't handle your boss, your superior giving you helpful criticism, and you flip out every time you do so, don't expect to hold a job for very long. Most people aren't born into the highest position, so keep this in mind when you're younger and you have to report to people still. And even if you are on top, that doesn't mean that you need to totally rule out the opinions of those below you. You could miss out on very valuable information if you don't take into consideration everyone. Being on top doesn't devalue the opinions of other people. But at the same time, don't force yourself to be a slave to other people's opinions either. Take the time to think. Decide what criticisms are the most important and prioritize. What do you think will benefit you the most in the near future? So your teacher totally tore apart the paper that you handed in. If you're not going to take into consideration the feedback, even if it's very hurtful and even if you thought that you did a good job, if you don't take that into consideration when you're writing the final one, you're probably not going to do as well. Maybe the professor knows just a little more about the topic you're studying. Don't let yourself become a victim of bullying, but also don't become so involved with your own feelings to the point where you and other people suffer from it. Find a balance where you could learn about yourself to become the best person you can be, outside of only your thoughts and your perceptions of yourself. There's an excellent example of this called the Johari window that I'll put up here for you visual learners. This is used to help people better understand their relationships with themselves and others. So in terms of yourself, so you have the things you and others are aware of, the things only you are aware of, things others are aware of, and things that aren't known to either. That's a very brief example of this model, but the point I wanted to get across is that you may not always be completely aware of yourself. That's why it's helpful to have friends and therapists to speak to. You may have qualities or habits that are blatantly obvious to other people, but you have no idea about them. These qualities can be good and bad, and on the flip side can sometimes result in low self-esteem because you're not aware of the good qualities that you put out there, which is something that I definitely struggle with personally. Always welcome the feedback of others to fill in your blind spots. And I hope you enjoyed that little psychology lesson. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next video. Bye.